I know a lot of persons have been concerned about your point system. Me myself, I'm not so or I don't understand the point system very well. So can you explain what is the NHT's point system and how does it benefit your contributors?
It's called the Priority Index Entitlement System, called PI for short. And it's a mechanism through which the NHT selects individuals for NHT scheme solutions, being either land or a housing unit. And how it works is that for each year an individual contributes to the NHT awards 20 points to that individual. Remember, we spoke about that 52-week period. So for each 52 weeks, you get 20 points. In addition to that, at the time of application, the NHT awards an additional number of points ranging from between a low of 70 to a high of 110. Who gets 70? Our highest income earners, those individuals who earn $42,001 per week and above. And who gets the 110 is our lowest income earners. Those are persons who earn between minimum wage and $15,000 per week. And when you see the NHT now advertises development, individuals apply, and then individuals are ranked in that priority index entitlement system based on the number of points they have. The person with the highest number of points, that person falls what we call at the top of the queue. They get first preference. They're not guaranteed the unit because they have to do a loan interview and look at the other variables, but they get first preference. And the NHT ranks individuals, as I said, according to points, and we start the interview process and we go down until we find the requisite number of individuals in the queue who can take up the NHT solutions.
Okay. So based on the point system then, for persons who contribute longer, or the more years you have, will put you in a better standing to acquire.
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. So I think you partially answered my next question as it relates to the point system and how it protects the most vulnerable in our society, which are our persons who are earning minimum wage, because you did mention the point system that is skewed. You have a 70 point system and a 110, and you award most to persons who are earning less.
Right.
So this is one way that you support.
Right, because if you look at it under regular circumstances, the highest income earner will always be able to afford a unit. And so that's why we introduced the PI system, because there's no one variable that we can use. If we use income alone, it means then all the housing solutions at the NHT bills will automatically, based off affordability, go to one end of the market. If you reverse that and you say, okay, low income earners only, then again, the other income bands would get shut out. So the point system looks at a combination of years of contribution. It looks at years of contribution. It looks at income as well. And the general selection system also looks at proximity to where that individual is to the development. So say, for example, we advertise for development in Manchester. We would again give priority to individuals who either live in Manchester or work in Manchester.
Okay.
So that's the priority index entitlement system. It looks at all of those variables: location, income, years of contribution, because to use any one variable would put individuals
another person at a disadvantage.
Notwithstanding though, Sharika, we understand that there are some even with a system that looks at those three variables, it still can end up being biased towards particular groups. And so the NHT has a tool that we call a special benefits order that allows us to balance things again, to flip it from being too biased towards one demographic or one income group. And so what we find is that the special benefits order allows the NHT to reserve units within NHT schemes for specific categories of individuals. For these categories of individuals, we have persons who have a disability.
Right.
We have our civil servants, our police, our teachers, our doctors, our nurses. We have as well our young adults, which are individuals under the age of 40. The NHT reserves units in schemes for these categories of individuals because we understand that we need to have a more balanced and a bit more equitable system. And so it corrects some of the inherent biases that may be perceived in the points and the pie system.
I do like what you just said, equitable. Because I have been hearing a number of conversations, and I try not to get myself involved because I did not understand the point system. So I'm really glad that you are here and you're clarifying that the point system is not to keep anybody out, and you're trying to attain that position where, you know, you're creating equitable solutions so everybody can benefit. So you did mention that the NHT has is it called a pie? You said the pie? The pie?
That's a general system. The general selection system is called the pie system, yes.
Right. And you reserve housing solutions for persons who are young persons, for persons who have disabilities, for low income earners, because I always hear a person saying that, oh, the NHT is not for young people. And you are always awarding houses to only selected kind of persons. So I'm really happy that you are here and you are explaining the process and you are debunking the myths and the misconceptions that are out there that is not so. Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand where that school of thought would come from too, because the reality is the demand for housing is great.
It is.
It's great. So in any NHT development, there are so many and no more housing solutions. And I'll give an example of the challenge that we have. When you advertise for 200 units and you get applications in excess of 7,000, you're going to have 200 happy people, but you're also going to have 6,800 people who are very upset with you. But so you'll find within that 6,800 the low income person who says, no, NHT only I give them rich friend. You'll find the young person who will say, NHT only I give the old people. You'll find the civil servant who say, NHT now look out for we and I was slave and we work so hard for the government. So you're going to find dissatisfied persons in almost after almost every selection mechanism, because the number of solutions that we put on the market vis-a-vis the demand for them.
The demand is high.
They're not singing the same tune. And that's something we're very much aware of. So even us at the NHT would have ramped up our housing program over the last 4 years, moving from averaging 2,500 houses a year to in the region of 7,000 a year. So and if you follow the news and you follow the NHT, you would realize that within the last few months, almost every month, there are 2 or 3 housing developments that the NHT is pushing on the market. Compare that to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, you would probably see 1 or 2 or 3 a year. Now you're seeing more opportunities, and that's as a result of our understanding of where the demand is. So we internally are pushing ourselves to deliver more as well. But we do understand that it's going to take a little while before the supply catches up with the demand. And so we continue to pursue creative strategies and creative measures, partnerships with our developers, partnerships with our employers, to see how we can bridge that divide. But it's going to take us a little time. And so we ask for just a little bit of patience and understanding as we get through this.
And I do agree with that. I have seen a number of units that you have been pushing out. I'm on your website almost every week. Yes, I'm a little stalker for the NHT website. So I go on it almost every week and I look to see when you're releasing something. And then, you know, I would do a video to let my viewers know that the NHT is coming out with this. Be sure to have your documents ready.
We can't pay you, but we thank you.
That's a pleasure. I find pleasure in doing it. So you don't need to pay me. The thank you is fine. And doing it, I enjoy doing it. And I am happy when I see persons jumping on it. They go and they submit their applications. A few persons have told me that they have gotten through. And I'm very happy for that. Yes. So I know you just mentioned about the demand and not being able to satisfy everyone because the demand for housing solutions are so high. So I will jump into my next question because a lot of persons are eyeing the NHT homes. And I do know that you offer 100% financing for NHT schemes. That's correct? Is it that all the NHT schemes you offer 100% financing? Can you clarify that?
All up to a maximum of 15 million. So there's a ceiling of 15 million. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you have housing that costs more than 15 million?
Pricing is a matter of different variables, to include construction costs, to include the cost of land, to include you should know location.
Yes.
So in certain in our more urban areas, that's where you probably will find something above 50 million. It's a rarity. I've only, in my NHT lifetime, I've only seen units costing above 15 million, perhaps twice.
I've never seen any. I've missed all of them.
Twice I've ever seen it. And yes, right. So it rarely ever happens.
Right.
But yeah.
Which is a plus for persons out there who are buying. It shows that NHT is thriving. NHT is thriving for affordability and ensuring that the house that you put on the market that the average person can actually afford. So that's a good thing to know, and you provide 100% financing for those who qualify for that 100%. So can you explain us a little bit who would qualify to obtain 100% financing through the NHT?
It's hard to tell you, but if we backtrack the conversation a little bit, the variables will look at age and income. So we would have to factor those in to be better able to calculate what's kind of like a sweet spot as to who will qualify. The guiding principle, though, is that it's a loan, it's a mortgage, it's subject to your ability to repay. So I know sometimes individuals will say, okay, you only cap me at 6.5. Or even within the 6.5, not everybody gets that maximum loan limit, and the variables of age, the variables of income come in, and you have to understand that we have to be responsible in how we discharge mortgages, because it's foolhardy to give a $50 million mortgage to an individual who all the variables are telling you that they can only take on a mortgage of $7 million. What happens immediately is that you give them the loan this month, next month, they're in default. So it would be irresponsible to be giving out, mortgages beyond what individuals can afford. So I would just always like to remind persons that, remember, it is a loan, and a loan is conditioned, on your ability to repay. So not everybody will get that 15 million. And that's where that 100% financing, or that 6.5. And that's where our mortgage calculator comes in again, because if you want to know, put in those variables of age and income, and it will tell you where exactly you are in that grand scheme of things.
Okay. All right. So again, as he just said, you can use the mortgage calculator to clarify the amount of money, if you qualify for that 100% financing, you can utilize that calculator. All right, so we're going to jump right into the next question. Back on the issue that you mentioned a while ago of being able to meet the demand, because a lot of persons have been just eyeing the NHT schemes, and I guess because you offer 100% financing, so I think persons are trying to capitalize on that, but you will not be able to meet the demand for everybody right away. So persons are normally encouraged to utilize the open market. So how does that partnership work with the NHT though, and private persons, private developers and so on? How do you manage that partnership?
We have a great partnership with our joint finance mortgage participants. The program is Joint Finance Mortgage Program, JFMP for short, and it is a one-stop shop experience between the NHT and a total of, I believe, at this point, about 11 other mortgage institutions. So it is for the individual who wants to access additional funding to what the NHT will lend you. So say you see a property that costs 12 million. You come into the NHT confirms that you can get your 6.5, and now you're going to another mortgage institution to access that additional 5.5 that you will need. You don't have to come to the NHT and apply for the 6.5 and go to the institution and apply for the 5.5. You just go to that institution, let them know you want to be a part of the Joint Finance Mortgage Program, you want to access your NHT benefit, and they do all the processing for you. They will reach out to the NHT and they will handle the processing of that NHT benefit for you. And it's a similar arrangement when it comes to repayment as well, that you don't have to pay the 6.5 at NHT and the 5.5 at the other institution. Right. You make one payment to the institution and we sort out on the back end. So the customer doesn't have to worry about that any at all. So that's one of the good programs that we've had as a result of partnership with other players in the mortgage market. Yeah.
Okay, so if I see a property on the open market that I'm interested in purchasing, and say the property costs $10 million, and I am qualified based on my NHT eligibility letter for the full 6.5, I can go to one of your partners, and can you give like probably a few of them?
I'm either going to give you none or all, and I'm going to try and give you all because I don't want to disadvantage anyone.
Right, and I don't want you to leave anyone.
So there's BNS, the bank, and there's BNS Building Societies. That's two. There's Sagicor, the bank, and then there's Sagicor, the other arm of the institution. So that's four there. Those are the harder ones. There's First Caribbean International Bank. There is Jamaica National. There's Victoria Mutual. There's First Global Bank. There's JMMB. I'm at 9, and I'm drawing a blank.
I don't think the viewers will punish you for that. NCB.
And there's NCB 10, and oh boy, who am I forgetting? I think it may be 10 and not 11 because I don't think I'm forgetting anybody.
Okay.
If I am, it's inadvertent. But there's always a list of them on our website.
There's a list on the website. Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So just look for Joint Finance Mortgage Program under loans.
Beautiful.
And you'll see the list there.
Okay. So persons can go to that list and they can look at your partners to choose who they can go to get that additional source of funds to purchase that property. And as you said before, once they go to that partner will ensure that they manage all the aspects of this purchase. So they don't have to be running to the bank, then run into NHT, because everything will be done at the partnering entity, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Right. Beautiful. All right, so let me see what's the next question I have on the list. All right, so I do know that for the NHT, the max that you lend for acquiring a house is 6.5 million, correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right, and you would have said this earlier that as persons are aware by now that this amount that you get is dependent on a number of factors. So it's not a broad scheme for everybody that everybody will get this 6.5. So let us be clear on that. So it's a number of factors that will determine whether or not you get the 6.5 or whatever figure that you will get. All right, so I just want persons to know that not everybody gonna get the 6.5. So some variables that will be used is your age, your income, is gender a factor as well?
Not at all.
No. Oh, because I normally hear they say men are high risk.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, you know, if I think about our mortgage portfolio, there's a slight lean, and I say slight lean towards us having more female mortgages than males, actually.
Yeah, because more women
it's
buy
not
properties.
It's not a significant difference. I think it's probably about a 51 to 49%, but we have slightly more female mortgages than male mortgages, actually. Yeah, but no, gender doesn't impact in the calculation.
Okay, hint, men. Yeah, buying more houses. What's going on? What's going on? All right, so we can move quickly into the next question. And based on the point system, you did hint a little bit on it. The point system and how you cater to persons with disability, because I do know a few persons who have varying disabilities and they wanted to know how the NHT, you did mention a program, but could you restate the name of the program that you have in place for persons living with disability and how they can come and benefit from the NHT?
Okay, well, it's not a specific program. What we do is within our schemes, there is a certain number of units that we allocate in consultation with the Council for Persons with Disabilities. And it's not just allocating the units, but the discussion and conversation and engagement goes way beyond that, insofar as we allow the council to even come and select the units. Because of course, when you look at a broad development, you have to bear certain variables in mind as it relates to especially access. So we allow the council to even select, okay, where we have 10 units in this development for your membership. Where are the ideal units that would, you know, work well for your membership based on the different challenges that they are experiencing. So that's the kind of relationship. So we reserve a certain number, and individuals can access them once they are registered with the council for persons with disabilities. We'll write to the council, we'll tell them that, hey, we're doing a development in this parish, we have 10 reserved, put this information out across your membership, have them apply, and those 10 won't go to anybody else. You come and select which 10 you want, and you know the selection process will take care of that. Beyond that as well, we give persons with disabilities a 2% reduction in their interest rate. So say you qualify under normal circumstances for a 4% mortgage from the NHT, by virtue of being an individual with a disability, we will take 2 percentage points off that. Actually, since last year, we took that a step further as well, and we've now extended this facility to the parents as well of children who have a disability. They now get that 2% reduction. So you could start at 4 and come down to 2, and you could start at 2 and come down to 0.
Okay.
Yes. In addition as well, the NHT has a disability grant of $150,000 that we make available to individuals who are mortgagors who have a disability, or individuals who are mortgagors who have persons with a disability living in the household. Once that individual is registered with the Council for Persons with Disabilities, you can come in and access that $150,000 grant. And that is really just to retrofit the property to make it a bit more friendly for the person with the disability. And I know individuals have used it to do various things. Persons have used it to put in ramps. Persons who probably are confined to wheelchairs have used it to lower light switches a little bit, so you know, and lower different elements of home a little bit so they are within reach. I know persons who have children who are autistic, they've used that to put like rails in the bathroom, so in certain, you know, you carrying out certain functions
is
a little bit more comfortable, right? So that's the purpose of that grant, really. And as I said, it's a grant. It's
so you don't have to pay that money back. That's free money.
That's correct.
Beautiful. I think we all love free money.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't, right? All right. So next question though, for persons who are interested, and we're still a little bit on the point system, for persons who are the older sets, persons over 50 but under the age of 70 and have never acquired a home, would have been throwing NHT contribution for a number of years. What system do you have in place to benefit those persons who are not so young but want to acquire a house?
Give me 1 second, let me plug in my charger. I'm back with you. All right. All right. So the NHT understands that life happens, and even with the best of intentions, that individuals may not have been able to pursue their home ownership goal at the point they would have wanted, and perhaps they're doing this a little bit later in life. Actually, when we look at when we look at our mortgage portfolio, what we find is that the average individual is averaging in age around 43, 44 in terms of being at the time that they purchase a home. And that's something the NHT has been trying to bring down. And we did a campaign last year to do that in terms of encouraging persons to pursue this a little bit sooner.
Right.
But we do understand that notwithstanding, there are some individuals based on their circumstances who just couldn't. Right. And so once you're 55 and over and you're a first-time mortgager, the NHT gives you a 2% reduction in your interest rate. Again, you could start at 4 and come down to 2, start at 2 and come down to 0. In addition to that as well, the NHT has a program called Parent Assist, right, where a parent and a child can pursue, one legally adopted or biological child can pursue home ownership together. In many instances, it is often sold as the parent assisting the child, but in truth and in fact, sometimes it could be very well the opposite as well, that it is the child who is in fact assisting the parent. So once that parent and child can always partner and access a NHT loan again. And one of the good things that we did with that program last year is to generally 2 individuals co-applying have individual stake in the mortgage. So my mom, for example, say my mom is 60, I'm 30. She would only get 10 years up to age 70 to repay, whereas I'm at 30, I would get 40 years up to age 70 to repay. What the NHT did over the last year is that we would now calculate both mortgages using the younger age, which would be, in this example I'm giving you, 30. The child's 30. So instead of having one mortgage being 40 and 10, both mortgages would now be calculated at 40 years to repay. And that's a very, very big thing, because a longer loan tenure translates into smaller, more manageable monthly payments. So through a program like that, we find that parents and children can always partner and pursue that home ownership goal together as well.
All right, and that's so beautiful. So, but there's a downside I'm looking at it though, and I would want for you to explain, because I know there's normally a challenge. So if I should assist my parent to acquire a property and know that my name is on that title, what if down the line I decide to get a house of my own? Would that prove to be a challenge, given that my name is already on a title?
It would be a challenge, not because your name is on the title, but that you use your NHT benefit already, and you would have invested it in that property. On that topic, though, that you would have indicated, I know it's a concern for some individuals whose parents would have put their names on titles for estate planning purposes. And now they're adults and they're being told, yeah, you're a homeowner. Legally, you are. Your name is on the title, so legally you are a homeowner. But the NHT understands those circumstances, that it's really for estate planning purposes, and the child really has no interest. It could be you're just the oldest child and there are 4 or 5 of you. You don't know who mommy and daddy going to leave the house to. It's not guaranteed to be yours. So in those instances, we just generally ask the child in this case to put it in writing that, hey, my name is on a title. It's for estate planning purposes. My parents did it. I have no interest in the property. It's just for security purposes. And the NHT does not hold it against a child insofar as that individual will be able to access their NHT benefit just the same as anybody else.
Okay, just the same as anybody else. Okay, that's good to know, because I've heard persons who are actually in similar positions. Their parents would have purchased a property, which is a good thing to have your name on a title. Don't get it wrong. It's a good thing to have your name on a title for a house, but they're concerned when they are ready to purchase their own property that, you know, you probably will turn them down. And you're saying that it's a no once it was used for estate planning purposes, and they can show evidence in the form of a letter.
Right. Just put it in writing.
That would they need a lawyer for anything like that, or a JP or something?
No, once they put it in writing, and include it as part of the general loan application process, that will suffice.
Okay. All right.
I must point out, though, that there's a difference between now the child who has inherited a house and you're living at the house and at your house. That's a different story.
You can't get any loan from NHT then?
You can get a loan from NHT to improve on that property. But, you know, how much you get, it would be for home, you would be capped at the home improvement loan amount, which is 2.5 million. So, you know, different. We take each case on its own merits, and we assist accordingly.
So once they come in and they explain the situation that they are in, you will provide the necessary guidance.
That's correct, yes.
All right, so another question on the point system, and I think this is the last question on the point system. Can the points be transferred? So I already have a house and I am not interested in buying another house, but I have been contributing to the NHT. I have my little sister now who just turned 20 and she's interested in buying a property. Can I give my sister my points?
So parents can pass on points to children. But as we all know, brother can't pass.
Whoops. Is it my internet? Someone's internet. All right, so you were saying that I can't pass on to my sister.
No, but you and your sister, any two individuals can co-apply to purchase a property. But as it relates to transferring points only at the moment, and let me say that we are an evolving institution. We never started out with all these policies and grants and benefits that we are at today. But as at today, when I speak with you, only parents can pass on points to children under parent assist program. But any two individuals can always co-apply. They don't have to necessarily be blood relative. But of course, you have to make sure who you're getting involved with, because it's not a financial and economic decision. It's a legal decision as well. And you want to ensure that you do your due diligence before you undertake any such kind of arrangement.
Right, that's true. So you just mentioned, you said any two? So three?
Any two individuals can
Only two? Only two?
Pardon?
Only two, not three?
Only two. Under the Joint Finance Mortgage Program, more than two can pool resources to buy a property, but only two can use their NHT benefit.
Oh, okay. So more than two can, but only two
Right.
can use their NHT if you're using the joint finance, which is through your partners.
Right. So then because at that point it's more so the loan underwriting terms for that PAN institution that governs the arrangement. The NHT only verifies your qualification and say yes. But on any, let me try and use a legal term, any security that the NHT is standing on, only two NHT mortgagers can use their benefit for that.
Okay.